he dead yet? Void Zone? Okay. Wait, the primordial jewel thing is kind of insane though. I think we have to hop on that ASAP. If the weightings did not change from like the past like 5 leagues of div cards recorded, then that should be really good value. Mausoleum. I like Jungle Valley more than Mausoleum. Any tinks? Hey, 6 Sephiroth again? 6 Dapper Prodigy? Let's go. Yo guys, Redviles here. So it's currently at the start of the day 4 of the All Flame League, and I'm gonna go through pretty much how my day 1 and day 2 went, and like the main, I guess, complaints and like problems that people and myself have like ran into, and like how to pretty much fix that early on. And it's actually really simple, but many people who've told me like, they're dealing with DPS problems, defense problems. Most of those questions are like right before or like before they swap into CI. And every single time I've seen the PoE Ninja profile POB, there's always like an underlying mistake or something they missed out on. And once they solved that, they had no problems after. And I'll quickly I made a checklist. Okay, look, it might look quite long, but if you're having problem with the build right now, please read this. I mean, I'll go through it right now, okay? And as I said on before league starts, a lot of the items are very, very cheap. Whispers of Infinity is I need to get Wicked PoE trade turned on. Whispers, which actually gives more than double the damage of the build than without the amulets, is 20 chaos. Anathema is a bit expensive still. Well, actually, no, it's 30C now. 30C for Anathema. Jav's Ring is 10C. Ground the Inward Eye. It's like, what, 10C probably? It's around 10C. Healthy Mind. Healthy Mind might be a bit more pricey. Yeah, it's like 1.5 diz roughly. And those are the main core uniques pretty much before like you can pretty much do most of the content that I'm doing. And yeah, let me just go through what things you should be looking out for. And yeah, so if you're planning to play this build, or you're playing this build right now and you're struggling, this is really important. And one thing I should say, yeah, with how cheap everything is right now, skip the whole elemental damage POB that I made before league start, right? So because like that was the plan for like day 1 when everything was expensive, but you can pretty much get everything going with less than 1 divine. If you have more than a divine, it'll be even better. But yeah, just skip everything, go for the amulets, and go for the medium cluster jewel for overwhelming malice, which converts all your fizz to chaos because you get a lot of fizz from your mana with KBoC jewel gem, and this will give a lot of damage combined. Because overwhelming malice, do not forget that this node, Unholy Might, gives chance to wither on hits, and we're hitting so much per second. We're pretty much maxing out on 15 wither stacks on monsters with KBoC, and that's a lot of increased damage taken from the enemy. So, main DPS checklist. I'll just go through it really quickly. These are the most common mistakes I've seen people in the chat have made, and once they fixed it, no complaints anymore. So, Assassin's Mark. The quality of Assassin's Mark is it gives power charge when you hit an enemy. That's marked. but you need the quality on it. So if you're bossing, you're fighting a boss in the map, and you have no power charge to begin with, you will have no power charge after unless you have a little bit of quality. Honestly, just putting in the blue socket gives 2% quality already because you get 10 qual, 2% chance to hit. But the more you have, the better. Next, this is pretty simple. KBoC, you want to have at least 10 quality and be in place on the blue sockets for an extra explosion. The amount of people I've seen people who did not utilize the extra socket quality and putting GCPs on certain gems that's really important is quite shocking. So make sure you remember that. Volatile Dead of Seething Transfig gem is pretty important. It gives more consumption, consumes more corpse per second compared to regular Volatile Dead. Uber is very, very important. For my day one, I was struggling with damage quite a lot. I had to slow down my voice zone progression, and instead I just cleared the Atlas instead of clearing the voice zones early on because I had to like get some levels, get some passive points, a little bit of investments. But now that's not the case anymore because like everything's really cheap. But either ways, Foul Bloodline gives 30% more damage with the tigers that generates crits and attack speed, and the amount of crits pretty much capture crits. And there's a good chance you might not need more power charges on the build because you get so much crit chance from the tiger and the wand. Next, so the wand, you definitely want connecting wand base. That's like there's no argument there. And you definitely want a combination of mana, crit, and attack speed. If you just have like a high tier of all three of these mods on a connecting wand, you are set to pretty much do like any T16, T16.5 maps, maybe even T17 if you're on the CI variant already. But yeah, you would want at least those modifiers. Eventually, you know, you would want a 6 mod wand like this. I spent like 10 divs on this. I wrote exactly each step on how to craft every rare piece of gear on my build, except for the shield because I bought the shield. I would recommend buying the shield for now with recover ES on block and maybe spell block or block chance on the prefix, just because it's a lot cheaper than crafting it from scratch. But each item I crafted for the wand, chest, glove, boost, they're all 6 modded items, like no dead mods. I put a paste bin here of like each step to craft, and yeah, it's around like less than 20 divines per item, 15 to 20 divs. The wand could be a lot more if you get unlucky though. But yeah. Next, man, the amount of people I saw having this like mistake is crazy as well. If you're still playing on the elemental damage of the version of the build, and you plan to convert to chaos with the overwhelming Malice cluster node, you gotta remember to remove the physical lightning support gem, and also remember to unspec any elemental damage related passive points that we spec'd in early on, like the physical convert lightning mastery, the invert mastery from elemental mastery. Those give no damage, and actually you reduce your damage if you have physical lightning with the chaos setup, so make sure you remove that. And if you do still have some elemental damage on the weapon, on my day one, I did have like a wand with like mana, crit chance, attack speed, and T1 cold damage. The T1 cold damage is like 6% extra damage for the build, even though I had Wisdoms of Infinity and Overwhelming Malice. And because of that, you do not want to use Void Manipulation, and you want to use another support gem. I would recommend probably Cruelty if you're not on the CI variants. If you are on CI like me, you can use damage on full life. And of course, if you have Headhunter, do not use Void Manipulation because you get a bunch of Fizz as extra random elemental damage, and you're gonna want to deal those damage. Prioritize getting mana on gloves and boost prefix. It's like an extra like maybe 10 to 12% more damage boost together if you have like a high roll mana on both the gloves and boots. And Anathema is a huge single target upgrade. If you're struggling with single target, this like overall gives like almost 70% more damage. The 2 curses, Despair and Punishment, adds up to roughly 50% more damage. And we also have Enfeeble for some more defense against like certain bosses. But the thing that boosts up to like around 70% more damage instead of 50 is that you don't have to place totems anymore. Because in the previous setup for our single target, we had to place Ballista totems, and that ruins our ramp up of KBoC by quite a lot. And so you just put the brand at the start. The curses last for 20 seconds, roughly. So like 10 to 20 seconds. So you probably don't have to put the brand again, and you just keep spamming KB. And so that's most of the I would say like obvious things that people have mistakes in on the build for having damage problems pretty much before you put like 20 divs into the build, I rarely see anyone having any problems after they transition to CI with like the all the uniques and recover ES on the shield, excluding HH of course. I did get lucky. I got a headhunter on day one, but majority of the actually yeah, all the PUBs I made, it would have been the exact same gear, but instead of Stitch Vice, I would have put this HH instead. Yeah. Main defense problems. This was a really big issue even for me on day one, especially right after I entered red maps, and that's why I had to delay my Voidstone progress and like stay at around like lower tier red maps for a while before I entered T16s and did my Voidstones. But it worked out pretty well because like you may as well clear the other side of the Atlas on like lower tier maps, just so you can like level up, gain a bit of currency to upgrade the build, and like eventually have a smoother progression later on. Of course, you definitely want to prioritize being spell block and attack block. That's our main defense, especially before turning into CI with a recover ES on block shield. Our main defense is having let me turn on my spell slinger and temper shield. You know, I'm currently at 75, 74. I'm missing one spell block, so I'll have to figure that out in the future, but you definitely want to be around that cap at 75. And to hit that, Ruby's Concoction and Replica Reckless Defense is really nice to have. I dropped the Replica. I don't need it anymore. Oh, no, I'm still using it. Never mind. I'm still using it. But, yeah, I would definitely recommend those two items to help with that block. Make sure the quality, oh, this is really important. Quality and socketing Bone Offering in the blue socket is huge. Bone Offering gives increased effect of the offering skill itself, and the offering is the skill itself is the chance to block, right? So I have 15% effect, which is really impactful. That's like 4% block chance, 4 to 5 right there. This is really important. Endurance charge generation, and especially if you start specking into the left side of the tree, which you probably should early on, just because you know, before League Start, I recommended to like go armor ES once you have a bit more investment for like the amulets, the rings, and whatnot. But you know they're really cheap now, so you may as well spec into the left side pretty early on. But yeah, when you get +1 max endurance charge here, currently I have a elegant hubris that gives endurance charge when you're hit recently. It's the exact same mod as the enduring composure small cluster. Those are pretty good ways to get generations for endurance charge. I did use aggressive bastion for the first 2 days of the league. I would recommend that first until you have more investment because it's really strong. Block chance, attack. This fizz attack does affect KBoC because you know initially we deal physical damage, and endurance charge and kill is really strong as well. Before switching to CI, the build will be squishy, and because of that, you know, you gotta make sure you don't face tag monsters. And one thing that I actually have seen people in my chat like talk about, like I've had someone say like I'm struggling in day one of the league, especially against map bosses and red maps. What can I do? And then I asked them how they played, and they told me most of the deaths is them shield charging into the packs of monsters and into bosses. Like the build, if you watch how I play since like, well, since after day one, I am like tanking a lot of hits, shield charging into monsters, but that's because I have like at least 10 to 20, like 10 divines into the build. And before that, you still gotta play like you gotta play smart. You can't play like how I do now. Utilize your 200% increased attack speed. Shield charge with max attack speed from the Corpse Pact, like it low-key feels like a Frostblink with how fast you move. You really gotta like utilize that, and especially for bosses, you got don't stand. Always like a good rule of thumb: don't stand in the same spot for more than a second or two. You always keep moving, and that's really easy with this build because we have really high attack speed. Before the CI swap, make sure to have a good amount of life in ES. So let me see how I still have the PUB. It's a little unethical. I did drop a HH on hour 6 of the league, but pretty much even without the HH, my defenses and stats would be the exact same, of course. And this is my day 1 gear. I had a total of almost 6,000 life in ES pool, and I was already level 90. I think I stopped at like hour 17 or something like that. Yeah, I didn't die that much at all after getting a decent like 700 ES chest on day 1. This pretty easy. I just reforged defense on harvest and then crafted another prefix. Nothing too crazy there. And the reason why the build is really strong right now and compared to like last league, I would say in terms of defense, is because we are pathing to the left right now and we're utilizing this mastery. Increase ES when you have armor ES items, the gloves, boots, and helmets. 100% increase. And you know, when you have a decent, this is somewhat decent ES chest, you get that 100% increase on the for your build, and it's really strong. Like you can build a lot of energy shield even though we're not specking too much into it. And oh yeah, so before the CI swap, you do want at least, I would say, a good like ballpark estimation is around 800 ES chess. A Watch's Eyes with Clarity ES mod. I don't think a lot of the items we're using is like really off meta now. Let's see how much this is now. Yeah, dude, it's like okay, no, it's actually kind of expensive now. I bought it for 2 divs. This is 4 divs now, but you definitely want that, and you also want to recover ES on Block Shield. And with the amount of people rushing bosses for profits, a recover ES on Block Shield shouldn't be too expensive if you know how to search for these. I would recommend going for Spell Block, recover ES on Block, and an open prefix. And you just type empty prefix here. Put one. Let's get like I don't know 8 Spell Block. 10C right there. This is good enough. This is almost as this is like almost like mine. The ES roll on the shield honestly doesn't really matter unless you get lucky with like prefix slamming a energy shield mod. So don't worry about like picking another base because like honestly, recover ES on block with a spell block is really good already. And you also want to make sure that the base chance of block is actually high. Like 22 is I would definitely skip out on that. I think 24 is like the bare minimum I would go for because when you craft the 50% increased chance of block, you know, you get a lot more extra block from that. And yeah, and also make sure you have like, you know, keep your spell block and attack block. You always want your attack and spell block to be capped at all times. And a little quick little early unique, well not really early, but unique priority order, of course, you know, is Whispers of Infinity into Healthy Mind, Crown of Inward Eye, Anathema, Light of Meaning. Actually, you probably could get these three first before, these two first before Healthy Mind because they're actually a lot cheaper than they were before. And the Shadow's Revelation Ring. So I made a mistake of having that on my POB before swapping to CI because I played around with it and I had the issue where like the no regen mod actually like uh generated some problems for me. Like I had to rely on a recover mana when you use a skill to recover mana when I hit 0 mana. So don't use this ring until you convert to CI because when you CI, oh I guess when you have this Whispers of Infinity Amulet, yeah. Um you consume ES instead of mana or life. So the no regen mana does not matter. Actually, yeah, sorry, I'm wrong. You should use this ring when you have Whispers of Infinity, not CI. I think just, you know, for me, when I transitioned to Whispers of Infinity, I was already at CI pretty much. So that's why I said it like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm definitely next future upgrades on the build. So my day 2, I don't really have much info or like videos on my day 3 yesterday because my gear from day 2 and day 3 is almost identical. I would say the biggest upgrade I got was this Elegant Hubris. Paid 4 divs for it, double spell damage, frenzy charge and hit, and endurance charge and hits. And the expensive part is this Mind Over Matter, 41 divines. That's the main change I did from yesterday, from day 2 to day 3 gear. You can check my Piri Ninja snapshots. I would recommend that to see how like my progression is. Of course, ignore the HH, it's a little unethical now. But I did spend, without HH, I have a roughly 150 divines into the build. And next upgrades would probably be going for a better ES chest. Honestly, my chest is really trash. T2, T2 with like crafted hybrid. The res is also low roll as well. I'm gonna go for like a 1.2k ES chest, and eventually I want to go do some rarity stacking, 300% rarity, unique farming strats, because uniques are very expensive this league. And I'm in the process of making one already, like a rarity helmet, divine crown to keep the armor ES set up. And yeah, I think that's how it is right now.